Interesting evening.
Is anybody going to get into place yet?
I don't know what's happening. It's supposed to bring the cheat sheets.
Next on this one.
Yeah, you need the cheat sheets. Okay.
I understand too.
Yes. You got assigned spots.
Do I look good?
Because it gets a little bit of layers.
Welcome to the Folk School on Willow Creek, featuring University Distinguished Professor Tom Ezern, singing and telling stories from the Salon on Willow Creek.
I need a bed for the night, boys, and my horses need hay. I've been riding that road line on the hottish highway. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain.
Purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee,
And crown thy good sing with an old fellow named Bill Cook from Kansas State, and how you always had to, when you're singing Bill, you had to follow his lead because you never knew where, you might agree on who was singing what verse, but it didn't always work out that way. You ever know anybody like that?
Nope.
Okay. Good, you covered for me. We've got guests in the salon on Willow Creek tonight. My daughter Emily, to my immediate left, her daughter, our granddaughter, the magpie, Meg, and off camera over there, because he forgot his trombone, is Meg's fiance, Michael, our brand new family member, about to said to be, but really is already, right? Yeah. He's eating his share here, I think, over here. The past few days anyway. Wonderful to have you in the house. Here, have your Michael. And everybody. Well, this week, this land is our theme. It's a joint one. We'll get around to Canada Day, which is today, July 1st, by the end of things here. But we'll have some celebration ramping up for the glorious 4th here also. So it's a double-decker. Can you come back in a little while to help out maybe with another one? Thank you. And as always, Dr. Kelly's at the keyboard over here. She may have something to announce. Yes.
Oh, is it time already?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yes, I will announce that we were all very excited to go to Minneapolis just last weekend for the Midwest Book Awards, where we had 5 of our authors that were up for awards. We won 4 silver and 1 gold. And our authors are elated about this prospect. It's a competition among 12 states in the Midwest region. The gold winner was Prakash Matthew with his first time ever book. So he wrote a book called We Are Called to Do the Right Thing. He won gold in the category of inspiration. I'm proud of all 5 of them. I'm especially happy for Prakash, who teared up more than a little bit at the awards.
A bit, well, you know, he's got a right to. And that book, as well as the others, available from ndsUpress.org. Your favorite bookseller is the one, right?
Right.
Yeah. Prakash, you know, couldn't happen for a nicer guy. He's kind of for those who aren't familiar with the scene here in North Dakota, and specifically at North Dakota State University, we regard Prakash as the kind of guy, when he walks in, the room gets better. You know? And he won it was the inspiration category, they called it, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And it is. There we are. That song we started out with, we've done it before at the Willow Creek Folk School, which we all know is America the Beautiful. And some people think of it as the national hymn. We do not officially have a national hymn. There are people who think America the Beautiful should be our national anthem because the Star Spangled Banner is really hard to sing before a basketball game. You know, just watch a couple times and see how they do. Catherine Lee Bates is the author of America the Beautiful. And it will never be our national anthem for a couple of reasons. One of them is because it's a hymn. Now, however cloudy things may be getting about church and state, you know, a hymn is separate from an anthem. It's, in effect, an extended prayer. There's a petition at the end of every stanza. Catherine Lee, and the other reason it'll never be our national anthem, or probably an officially designated national anything, is because Catherine Lee Bates had an interesting lifestyle. Now, Catherine Lee Bates was a scholar and a teacher at Wellesley College, as also was a woman named Catherine Coleman, and they had what was known as a Boston marriage, a term that's not well known today. But I think if I describe it, you've known people. Matter of fact, Emily, you've sat at a holiday table with people who had a Boston marriage. Not uncommon in the 19th century, early 20th century, and down well into my lifetime, two women, unattached, decide to live together and care for one another. And that's the story of a Boston marriage. You try to explain that to people in the 21st century, and they don't get it. But a woman living on her own in the 19th century, early 20th century, that's just not a very tenable situation. But two women living together works. Yeah, and because you can't explain that sort of a Boston marriage situation to the 21st century, probably Catherine Lee Bates and her song can't be the national anything. But isn't it a heck of a hymn for our country? And it's inspired. Well, okay, what are we talking about here then for our land here? All my poor students at NDSU and American history courses have to read Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America. And, they complain about this. But one of the core lessons in there is Tocqueville writing about what the nature of American patriotism. He says there are two types. One is kind of logical, transactional. I've got a good deal in this country, therefore I love this country. The other one comes from here. It's more visceral. It has to do with the love of ideas and the love of the land itself. And as Tocqueville would describe it, that comes with greater time. That takes more maturity. I don't know about you, but I think maybe we've slipped a little bit on that one here in the 21st century. And so if we can just remind people that there is this ideal of a type of patriotism that is not transactional, then we've done everything we might do to preach the gospel here tonight. Catherine Lee Bates, America the Beautiful, written after she crossed the plains of Kansas by rail, ascended Pikes Peak, and looked down upon the plains. So it belongs in this program.
We have a note from one of your former students, Dr. Amanda Biles.
Yes.
Who writes, "Confirm thy liberty in law. Amen."
Indeed. That song, by the way, didn't become popular until the time of the Great War. There was a fellow named Peter Dykema who had published a songbook called Community Songs, the Brown Book. And Peter Dykema's Brown Book was stocked in schools and service clubs and so on around the country. When America entered the war, he went into national service as, in effect, a propaganda officer. I don't mean that in a negative sense. He was out there explaining to the troops, here's why we're in the war. And then he would lead singing, because that's what he did. He was a choral director. And then Dykema went on the road during the war and would sit in, guest conduct community choruses, and he would teach them this new hymn, America the Beautiful. On 1st of August of 1917, he did exactly that in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Headline of Grand Forks Herald, Patriotic Anthem to be presented at Sing Tonight. And so America the Beautiful came to North Dakota on that day. Well, we got some other songs. We're going to talk about taking root with a love of the land and place itself. We'll bring it home to the plains a little bit. And I thought that I would sing a song by Snorri Thorfinnsson, The Plains I Love. I've sung it before. Some of you will recognize it. Or if you ever went to Farmers Union summer camp, you have sung this. In North Dakota, you have sung this song. Snorri, of Icelandic heritage, poetry was in his DNA, as was history. Longtime agricultural educator and extension officer. from the Icelandic region of northeastern North Dakota. And I believe he wrote this song. Why I think that, I don't know, because people tell me. I would like to get some really good documentation of that. So if somebody has it, can document that and show me in print The Plains I Love by Snorri Thorfinnsson, I'd really appreciate that. So I'm going to sing that song here in a minute, and just a few verses. It won't take very long. But then I've got this other one. Oh my! Of course, you know I love to discover new poems and songs from the past, and I'll slide into that one afterward because it just fits right along with it. Okay, "The Plains I Love" by Snorri Thorfinnsson. I love the mountains, I love the hills, winding rivers and whispering rills, but my heart with contentment fills. Out on the plains I love, out on the plain where the wind blows free, that is the place I am longing to be. There good fortune will smile on me, there let me live and die. On me the city casts no spells, I hate its noise and assorted smells. Oh, what relief when my road map tells I'm on the plains again. Out on the plains where the wind blows free, that is the place I am longing to be. There good fortune will smile on me, there let me live and die. Oh, if you would live where the skies are blue, North Dakota's the land for you, land where the people are brave and true. This is the land we love. Misty moon in the autumn sky, listening to the wild goose cry. Sometimes I wish that I might fly back to Dakota's plains. Out on the plains where the wind blows free, that is the place I am longing to be. There good fortune will smile on me, there can we live and die. Such a simple little song, but it packs in all those things of the senses that are a part of a true love of place. Well, in line with that, rummaging through the old newspapers, as you know I do all the time, ran across a set of stanzas from, what year did they come from? 1937. At the top of the report is the legend, "Poem from the Dust Bowl." The editor writes, "The following is a poem written by Gretchen Gildehouse, 13, to her grandmother, Mrs. George Gildehouse." Now, Miss Gretchen would go out every year to Dodge City, Kansas. That's in the southwestern part of the state, heart of the Dust Bowl, for those who are unfamiliar with that bit of geography. She would go out in the summer and visit, I'm pretty sure it's her mother's sister, to visit her aunt, as you would say in Kansas, aunt, as you would say in North Dakota or Minnesota. And she'd go out there and visit. And in the middle of the Dust Bowl, in the worst years of the Dust Bowl, she still went out for that visit in Dodge City. And the editor writes, "The poem was written while Gretchen was watching a dust storm during a visit with her aunt in Dodge City. Instead of writing her usual letter, she sent this poem back to her grandmother." Now, the grandmother was living around the area of Holton, Kansas. The family, her parents and her grandparents, they all lived there in northeastern Kansas around Holton, sometimes in Topeka, but always in the northeastern quadrant of the state, so not in the Dust Bowl. She's writing from that afflicted area back home. And this is 1937. She titles her stanzas, "Just the Place for Me." What I noticed right off is, I believe these would be singable to the same tune that Snorri Thorfinnsson used for "The Plains I Love" in North Dakota. So here it goes. 13-year-old Gretchen Gildehouse, her poem, which I'm making into a song, Just the Place for Me. I'm going to the bride in the sunny west, back to the place I love the best, where the sagebrush and the cactus grows. How I love it no one knows. I'm going to go back to the place where there's very few trees and plenty of space. Very few trees and plenty of space. That's just a place for me. Most all the men wear wide-brimmed hats, and they don't clean their feet on the wool doormats. But they wash their feet in a big cow tank where the cattle and the horses drank. Till the water is oh so slimy and slick. It takes the dust and the dirt off quick. Takes the dust and the dirt off quick. That's just a place for me. I'm a-going where the loco and the soapweed bloom. You can worry alone, 'cause there's plenty of room. You can walk across the field and see a whirlwind coming. What do you do but lie down a-running? 'Cause they fill the air so full of dust. You think your lungs are going to bust. You think your lungs are going to bust. That's just a place for me. You go riding across the plains on a stubborn horse. You think that you're plenty safe, of course. All at once you side steps at a long-eared hare, and you slide off in a patch of prickly pear. You leap up like a person at a St. Vitus dance, 'cause there's stickers all through the seat of your pants. There's stickers all through the seat of your pants. And that's just a place for me. Out west the wind blows too hard and sends high piles of dust against the whole back fence. Piles of dust 4 and 5 feet high. So unusual the tourists say, oh my. Then the wind whips a lot of dust in their face. They say they wouldn't live in this doggone place. They say they wouldn't live in this doggone place. But it's just a place for me. Gretchen Gildehouse didn't live that much longer in Kansas. In a year or two, she would move down to New Mexico and cross sometimes into Arizona. Married fairly young, but while in New Mexico, going to high school, very active in speech and oral interpretation and other arts things. Married, and she kind of drops off the screen of history at that point. Eventually died in Montana. From the Dust Bowl, Gretchen Gildehouse. Looks like I left out one verse, but it doesn't matter. Well, who do we have with us, Dr. K, tonight?
Got folks from all over. Von Rothenberger says the harvest is still being brought in.
Yeah, he's up in the northwest part of the state, so it still could be going on there.
Connie Martin is at the Omaha Symphony concert, but she wanted to check in here first.
Well, thank you, Connie.
And yesterday was a big birthday around here. You might mention that.
Well, I thought we'd get around to it.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you, Meg's about, what, 15 now?
That's so close.
You had to get permission to marry. Are we going to say how old you are?
Sure.
24 years old. We're happy to say, as grandparents, that both Meg and Michael are gainfully employed as musicians and music teachers.
Yeah.
Both in southern Oklahoma. And what's the town again, Meg?
Calera.
I'm always getting that wrong. Yeah.
Do you want me to make you a t-shirt?
Well, you know, just to keep reminding me. And Michael, the Tishomingo, am I right?
Tishomingo.
So much harder to remember.
Remember that one.
Well, the Tishomingo is a pretty historic town. I remember that one. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks.
Gosh, you got a lot to celebrate this summer.
I do. I like to party.
Don't we all, I hope. you know, we can maybe use some celebration. A glorious 4th to all of you who are on this side of the 49th parallel, on the southern side. If you're on the other side, on the prairies of Canada or anywhere north of 49 degrees, I hope it's been a wonderful Canada. Congratulations on another year of being Canadians. Yeah. We'll cross the border here yet before we're done, but we're going to ramble around the United States just a moment here again. You know, one of the great contributors, both drawing on and contributing to the folk tradition in American letters, is of course Woodrow Wilson Guthrie of Oklahoma, but then out to West Texas and experienced the same Dust Bowl conditions that Gretchen Gilderhouse did there, and wrote about them, each of them writing certainly true accounts of what they felt was going on at the time, rather different ones. If you think about Woody Guthrie's song, Dust Bowl Disaster, and So Long It's Been Good to Know You, songs like that. But of course, he's known also for a sort of national anthem. This land is your land. I don't know, maybe I can get people to help join along and sing on this one, huh? This is a fairly well-known tune. This is a song, let's see, now this was sung at Joe Biden's inauguration. Everybody remember that? And then there was some criticism of that. What it has to do, really, is the song, well, it sort of overlooks some people, and particularly American Indians, Native Americans, are concerned that, you know, this land is your land, this land is my land. Oh, you can see how that would kind of, that would rub some people. And rightfully so. This is not on Guthrie's mind at all when he wrote it. And that's kind of the point. You know, his generation didn't think of that. They considered American Indians to be on the way out, you know, people of the past. Whereas in fact, they were resurging at that time. But we'll do This Land Is Your Land. And we got 3 verses in the chorus here, unless you made up another one while you're waiting over there. Did anybody make one up? Well, then we'll do these. It's the ones that, these the ones that Guthrie left for us. What's a good key? This land is yours. That'll work for you. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the coastal waters. This land was made for you and me. Sing the verses too?
Okay.
I roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of the diamond desert, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, and the voice was chanting as the fog was lifting, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest got singers in the house tonight, haven't we? We know that Meg's gainfully employed as a musician and music teacher. Her mother, of course, kind of set a high bar on that, didn't she?
I suppose.
Okay. Sitting to my immediate left is, probably the foremost small-town music teacher in North Dakota, if hardware in the trophy case is any evidence. Am I right? Yeah.
We put gold away.
By the box?
By the boxfuls.
Don't melt that stuff down.
No.
You'll bust the market.
Well. Or be disappointed.
Well, I appreciate you helping me out and straightening me out on this tonight. You want to get out of here?
Okay.
You don't have to perch up there forever, because we're going to Canada here in a moment.
Oh.
I don't think I'd ever been to Canada until, something like if Rick Shepard's watching, he can probably tell me what year it was. 1985, something like that. And one of the things I noticed, I was greatly amused as we crossed the border at places like Portal, North Dakota, North Portal, Saskatchewan, is the duty-free liquor stores. Now, you've seen, of course, duty-free liquor in international airports, but it existed on the international border and still does there. And it was quite comic, because I think, well, I might pick up a bottle of bourbon to carry along here. And so you'd pull up on the American side of the border, and they just had not a full store, not much stacked, just bottles kind of on exhibit in there. And you'd say, I'll take a fifth of that. And you pay for it then. Then you drive to the no man's land between the two customs offices, and they'd have a van parked along the side of the shoulder of the highway, and hold your hand out. No, you'd have to do it on the passenger side. And there's a guy on the shoulder there, and he'd put a bottle into your hand as you drove out. And then when you got to the Canadian customs, you carrying any liquor? Yeah, I just bought this bottle. Okay. Then you go up and carry it on in. And you can do the flip side if you want to bring home a bottle of Alberta Premium Rye, go in the other direction. You just do duty-free liquor on the fly on the ground that way. And I always thought that was just hilarious. But the very comic nature of that emphasized a certain lack of tension in that border crossing. Now, since then, a lot has happened, hasn't it? And most of us living near the 49th parallel have had some rather fraught border crossings at one time or another. But they weren't in those days. And I suspect that the way I first experienced the border was pretty much the way that the greatest poet of the plains, William Stafford, experienced it, when he wrote his poem at the unnational monument along the Canadian border. Amen. Need some stuff here in a minute. At the unnational border along the Canadian, unnational monument on the Canadian border. This is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field, grass joined hand, no monument stands. The only heroic thing is the sky. Birds fly here without any sound, unfolding their wings across the open. No people killed or were killed on this ground, hallowed by neglect and an air so tame that the people celebrate it by forgetting its name. I hope it's been a joyous Canada Day for all of our neighbors. This is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field where grass joined hands, no monument stands, and the only heroic thing is the sky. Liberating strife more than self, their country love. And mercy more than life. America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, every gain divine. If you would live where the skies are blue, North Dakota, land for you. The land we love. When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, and a voice was chanting as the fog was lifting, this land was made. A discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all the day. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all the day. This land was made for you and me. Dr. Kel?
We're doing this next week.
Good point. We have a joyous occasion next week that we would love to share, but the logistics are difficult. And so we're going to keep it among us in the family next week. No Willow Creek Folk School next week. Be back the following week with number 109.
Okay. We now conclude today's edition of the Folk School on Willow Creek. We invite you to join us again 2 Fridays from now at 8 p.m. Central Time for more songs and stories.